Shalom, Kohalo Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of GMS, including those that came before them that taught us this truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. I'm the brother Yahshua, I'm back with the WW3 Daily update. Shalom and salutations to you. We're gonna start with a precept, but I wanted to read this first. This is Chris Green at AMTV channel 19 minutes ago, and the title reads, Warning, U.S. officials warn of FF, okay, which they said that was a C theory, okay, but now when you want to say it, it's all good. You can't put yourself in jail, right? In Ukraine and global nuclear war. What is that? Global nuclear war. What is that? All right, well, let's get it. Let's get it in the scriptures, okay? And then we'll come back. We'll watch that, all right? Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, meaning look, the third woe cometh quickly. Look, global nuclear war. Look, behold, the third woe cometh quickly, very quickly. All right, let's watch this. Get a couple of precepts, and I'm going to keep this really short. All right. He might try to sell a little gold and a little crypto in between, but you know, he's going to bring up JC, Jeebus, but you know, you got to let the rich man say his piece. You know, he's got some information too, even though when he tries to break down the scriptures, he's ass wrong. But anyway, let's hear what he has to say.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, God be with all of you. We sit at 12 o'clock midnight. The U.S. government is warning of a false flag in Ukraine. Now, it's interesting because we've heard those terms and language before when they called it a conspiracy theory. Now they say it's something that they think Vladimir Putin is going to implement in the Kherson region, potentially as they exercise World War III games as we speak, called Grom, with their nuclear bombers firing successfully multiple intercontinental ballistic missiles in an exercise as they work, of course, with the other Axis powers, China, and the BRICS nations. Let's get into this article and more, and please like and share this. God be with all of you, ladies and gentlemen. This is from The Hill, Policy and Defense. Why fears of a Russian false flag attack are on the rise. Fears are rising that a major event on Ukrainian soil in the near future will be a Russian, quote, false flag operation. Of course, they just warned about a dirty bomb in this area, and many of the strategic military analysts believe that the conflict is going to erupt in this southern region of Kherson, of which Vladimir Putin, they say, has illegally annexed in recent months. There's been worries about the dam. The dam, if that was targeted and there was some kind of event, it would flood multiple cities and towns in Ukraine and has more water, a wall of water. Think of the sheer force of this, that I believe is larger than the Great Lake of Salt Lake, just to put it into perspective. So this is the operation that U.S. officials are saying they think is coming very, very soon. They're also saying that Russia's claims that Ukraine was planning to use a dirty bomb on its own land are false. This is what the mainstream media is saying. Oh, there's a little rainbow right there, actually, right now. Probably just reminding all of us to get on our knees and pray to the Lord and the King Jesus Christ, because we're certainly going to need it. We also had an earthquake in San Francisco, the birth pangs and the warning of the big one that is soon to hit in the Northern California sphere. This is very, very serious, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put links in the description box below. We do have the crypto market pumping as well. If you've been checking in on that, we've had a huge move in Ethereum and also Bitcoin within the last 24 hours. I think that that's going to continue. as people panic out of sovereign assets like worthless fiat, inflationary, hyperinflationary, too big to fail bailout fiat currencies in to non-sovereign currencies that actually have real value outside of the banking system before capital controls are implemented and we possibly have bank runs here in the West. Now, Putin says the risk of a world conflict is, quote, high. He's also calling for what he is saying and coining a de-Satanization of this part of the world. This is interesting terminology because, of course, I believe we are engaged in a spiritual war, ladies and gentlemen. And now Putin says that he's de-Satanifying this part of the world. Now, of course, this is being contested by the West, but it appears that Vladimir Putin is fighting a religious war. This is the article from CNBC.com. You can see he's calling Ukraine a Satan area. He says he's going to have to de-Satanify, if I'm saying that correctly, this part of the world. So the quote-unquote heaviest of battles lies ahead in Kherson as Ukrainian troops advance on occupying Russian forces, according to Ukrainian presidential advisor. It's important to note that there hasn't been the use of nuclear weapons since the United States tragically dropped 2 large nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end World War II, of course, on civilian populations. Extremely tragic. Now they're warning about a dirty bomb, which is actually not a nuclear weapon, but it's laced with nuclear proliferated materials, which can become radioactive and melt down, and then, of course, trigger further events. And this is what as they gamify all this, they're worried about. There was a recent simulation that was just run by Princeton University that accounted for the cascading events that could result in 35 million people worldwide, God forbid, perishing as a result of a nuclear world war event that it appears that we're in. Russia has sent a letter to the United Nations pushing what they quote unquote are saying unsubstantiated claims that Ukraine is preparing to use a nuclear laced, quote, dirty bomb on its own territory. In a 310-page document, it outlined Ukraine's plan to use bioweapons, allegations vocally rejected and largely debunked by Ukrainian and Western officials and weapons experts. So all of this is building up. We are hitting ahead. There's even an article here that says at least 10 million people will need psychological support from the war in Ukraine. Well, how about the lockdowns over the last couple of years? Do you think anyone needs psychological support for that? It's interesting how, again, we're seeing this in the news every single day. Isn't it interesting that every single day we're reading on CNBC.com, look, all the bullet points of the war. They want us to know every single detail of Kherson. This is a part of the media manipulation and the propaganda machine because, again, this is the new World War III event. It's psychological AI warfare. It's an operation. This is a part of the PSYOP, ladies and gentlemen. They want constant updates. There's even an app on your phone that warns you of an earthquake seconds before one actually happens now. Because this is the society that we live. It's a technological Tower of Babel that they're building. And we've seen this systematically implemented over the last several decades and remove a lot of people's individual sovereignty and freedom. And now it's being fought in an AI context, in an AI war. I've talked about this very much. I've spoken with people individually, personally, like Eric Schmidt, that of course invests in a lot of these seedling companies. I mean, he warned to me in his own language. I'll paraphrase a bit. When I spoke with him, probably going on like, I don't know, 5, 8, maybe even 10 years ago. And he told me that they were going to shore up all of social media and they were going to start restricting the types of content that could be put out on the popular social media platforms. And I took that as a cue of understanding where things would ultimately be headed. And we see this on the internet today. We see it with the cancel culture, of course, and the division, which I also think is a psyop. When we look at people like Ye being cancel cultured all across his business platforms right now and all across social media, as Elon Musk sits on the brink of potentially closing the Twitter deal on Friday. In fact, many people are waiting with bated breath to see if he restores free speech to Donald Trump's Twitter account. Yay, people like Alex Jones and others that have been banished and made examples of the free speech that isn't allowed. I think this is really hilarious and funny. The United States supposedly believes in free speech, but not the speech that they don't like. Like if it's too free and it gets to the area where they don't like the speech, then free speech is gone. See how that works? It's pretty darn hilarious. They believe in free speech here in the West as long as you say what they like, as long as you say what they want you to say. So God be with all of you. Let's pray that these world events don't spiral out of control. But it appears, as we look in the media, I mean, every single article is telling us this is going to happen. And this is a part of the predictive programming that they want you to know about. Dirty bombs, nuclear war, 35 million people possibly perishing, the GROM exercises, the U.S. running NATO exercises, the possibility of Article 5 being triggered.
Spot on right there.
And all of this unraveling and domino effect in the coming days as we approach 2023, which is very occult, by the way, because every day of that year will be 322. Also, as we look towards the transhuman era and the integration of man biologically with machines, which is what people like Elon Musk are working on with their company's Neuralink, I found it very occult and also interesting that he moved his revealing date from Halloween, October 31st, to November 30th. I don't know if that was because of some kind of pushback from the general population or just a delay in the event in general, but they had originally selected the very occult Halloween Ghost Day of October 31st. It's now been pushed back to the 30th. So things are rationing up, and also keep in mind, Saudi Arabia, they're saying they're no longer our ally. So Saudi Arabia has pivoted away from the West.
And all of this has to do with World War III, so pay attention.
They're hanging out, are best friends now with China and the other BRICS nations. They've completely slapped Joe Biden in the face. They're cutting 2 million barrels a day of oil, helping to ratchet up oil prices.
And oil was the reason for World War II, if you don't recall.
Biden's using it as many people would argue, I would argue this, manipulation in the upcoming midterms as a part of meddling oil prices. So it serves a political benefit, but not global stability. So the whole world's moving away from the United States. This is what you need to understand. Moving away and pivoting from Joe Biden's presidency and American hegemony and leadership. As the petrodollar collapses and as they warn us of false flags and nuclear war in this part of the world. I'm Christopher Green.
All right. Good job, Chris. All right. Where do we go? Should we go to burn her with fire? That's what's going to happen. All right, we're talking nukes, right? Let's see. Burn her with fire. Okay. We'll go there. All right. Revelation 17:16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast. Okay, let's qualify. The 10 horns is the EU, which is more than 10 horns now, but that's beside the point. Upon the beast, Salakia. Yeah, this is the EU, 10 horns. The beast is NATO and the EU. Okay. These shall hate the whore. The whore is Babylon the Great. Okay. Which right now they're all together fighting against Vlad. Okay. So you got the whore and the beast. The beast includes the EU. Okay. So all three of these factions are together right now. But what this is telling you, okay, is that they're going to turn. Just like the Most High had put hooks in Russia's jaws and turned them back, they're going to turn the EU and NATO against the United States. And shall make her desolate and naked. He's going to reveal all the bullshit that you've been doing to make them mad and turn on you. And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. The end result is those missiles. Okay, that burn her with fire. Who's going to burn her? The 10 horns, the EU, NATO, and the EU here are going to shoot their missiles on America. All right? Because they're going to get mad that why did the Nord Stream 2 get blown up and Nord Stream 1 at the same time? That is to benefit the whore. And the whore keeps doing things like that with no regard for the EU. The EU is like, well, what are you doing? And it's all going to come to naught. The EU is going to start freezing. They're going to get mad at the whore. And not just freezing, everything. You got us into this mess with Vlad, now he's whooping our ass. And they're gonna recalculate the coordinates for their missiles. And then this. All right. So that's where this thing is going. We'll end it right there. Yeah. Wars and rumors of war. All right. That's what we got right now. It's going to escalate, right? And with every day that goes by, the days are being shortened. Okay. So it's going to seem as though things are right on top of each other every day. Every day, more wars, more rumors of war, threats, reports, news, all right? Until people start burning up. So repent while you can. All right, so with that, we hope that the elector edify you, brothers and few sisters. Shalom.